It's the 1st of May, and this is on a personal note, just a few bits and pieces that I'm bringing to the attention of the astrological community. Firstly, I'm out there on the web again. I've done another podcast. Google the Faith in Humanity podcast. I spoke with a lovely young man called Dennis in the East Coast of America, and there's an hour-long podcast available free of charge on his website. Faith in Humanity podcast. It's a bit rough on the edges, and the recording's not brilliant, but it's legible, audible, and there's some good content in there. So go and have a look, and feel free to comment on his webpage because he's a nice guy. Faith in Humanity podcast. Secondly, later in the year, I am seriously looking at coming to Australia. I've got offers of accommodation in Melbourne and a place to work in Melbourne, but I'm also looking for places to work in Sydney, even places to stay, which is proving a bit more difficult. So if there's anybody out there in Australia whom I can have a brief 5-minute Skype or FaceTime chat with, who's in a position to be able to advise me, I'd be really grateful for the contact. This is going to be happening sometime around the end of October, if it's going to happen, and then I'm going on to Singapore for a month, for a week or so in early November. All of this is provisional and it depends on interest. In that light, I'm also this Friday, May the 4th, I'm at Woking Astrology Group in the south of London doing an hour and a half lecture to astrologers and friends on the astrology of humour. I've got the horoscopes of about 80 to 100 different famous comedians over the last 120 years. And I'll be looking at all the different types of humour, from wit through sarcasm to pathos and irony, and using individual comedians' horoscopes to describe this. I will be recording it and hopefully filming it as well. And I will be making this available if people are interested. Email me if you want to get hold of a copy of this, steve@stevejudd.com. There will be a fee for that, obviously. And I've dug out a few first editions of my books which have one or two misprints in, and I'm looking to unload them. So I've got a few copies left of that, The Bedroom Astrologer, first edition, complete with a few printing mistakes and spelling mistakes. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know, and I'll sell it to you for a £10 instead of the normal 18. There will be postage on top. And similarly, I've got a few hardback copies of that available. Again, with spelling mistakes, but with an errata sheet in there. I've also got, of course, second edition copies of both of them, which are perfect condition, but they're a lot more expensive. So the Pluto book I'll be selling £15, no, £12 with postage. So again, email me if you're interested. But yeah, and I'm also up for doing gigs anywhere else in the UK. Anybody wants me to come and do a bunch of readings, I'll quite happily do it, but I do need a minimum of 10 people for half an hour each, or 6 people for an hour each to make it worth my while. You know how to contact me, folks, steve@stevejudd.com, and do check out the Faith in Humanity podcast. It's interesting. All right, catch you later. Cheers. Bye.